Alright guys, what is up? This is your boy God, and today I just wanna show you how to use the Eye of God strategy using multiple time frames or time frame analysis. You still remember in the previous videos I was just showing you how to take entries on M1, but I do believe with what I am about to show you, it'll make a very big difference to your trading. Pardon me for the noise in the background, guys. I'm in a little bit of a noisy location, so just bear with it for a second. Alright, so the higher time frame is usually very important when you're making any trades, be it you're scalping or you're doing intraday trading. So for me, when I'm trading boom and crash, I usually like trading using 15-minute or 30-minute as my highest time frame. So with that being said, the first thing you look at, if you are to follow this method, or if you're going to follow this method, the first thing I advise you to look at is if there is a peak formation on M15 or M30. By peak formation, I mean that this indicator would be oversold or overbought, right? On M15 or M30, since you're using it as a higher time frame. So for example, we can say this. This is our peak formation based on the indicator showing you there. So now what you do now, you can scalp boom by buying, but since the higher time frame in this particular case being M15 that we have chosen, the secret here is very simple. You look for sell opportunities whenever price pulls back to these three indicators after it has formed its peak. Right, we have this one being the first, and we have got this is the second pullback, and here is the third pullback, and here is another one, although this one didn't quite touch. So there's something that I want you to see, guys, that will make your trading a lot easier even if you're scalping on M1, because personally for me, the highest time frame I like to consider when I'm trading boom and crash is the M30. H1 I hardly do that because I'm a scalper and an intraday, so usually my setups are about at least a minimum of 2 to 3 hours tops. Right, so drawing down to M1, I just want to show you guys something. This, remember we were saying this is our peak on M15, right? Our first point of entry that retraced was this one, right? This was it on M1 right there. You see this M1 also gave you here a sell setup. That means you could have sold boom on this particular point and you would have held because you knew that the M15 was on a downtrend, right? And then your second entry, if you missed it, the first one was this one right there. Let's use a different color. I'm gonna attempt to make this video as short as I can so that I don't waste your time. Right, okay, the indicator right here was overbought, so you knew here that if I bought here, it will still drop. So you were scalping, even if you wanted to scalp, you were scalping. There were much lesser spikes because you're going in the overall direction of the trend. And even if you wanted to scalp, you just had to wait up until the eye fully formed here, or it reached here the oversold condition. And then your third entry opportunity was this one. Right, let's use a different color for this. Let's pick maybe pink. Right, so check, this was your third entry. The indicator here was overbought and it was in this particular overbought zone. So this was your entry, even if you needed to scalp or if you missed the first two entries, this was your third opportunity. And then this one was the other one. Using the zoomed version, you would have found an entry over here. Let's change this to a different color. I want to show you guys what it looks like when you go back to the higher time frame. Yeah, this was your opportunity. So you check with the zoomed and unzoomed version even if you're analyzing the high time frame, so that you know where you are in the markets, right? So this zoomed version gave you here the indicator was overbought, so you knew you're going to be selling. So we can go check, for example, this is another opportunity here that is cooking, but if I'm to check the M15, it will tell me whether I should enter or not, right? So guys, now look, this is exactly what I was talking about. It just happened whilst I was recording this video. On M1, this was an opportunity for your entry right there. Let's use a different color. Let's use white. All right, now look guys, So this was your opportunity to enter if you missed all others. So going back to the higher time frame, which is the M5 time frame, all these were entry opportunities on M1, because here on the peak you'd identify that it's going to be selling on a higher time frame, which is in this case the M15 time frame. So all these pullbacks to these three indicators were possible entry points, but you had to confirm with the M1 to tell you whether or not you are in the right direction. So guys, this is Boom 1000, just using multiple time frame analysis. Let me check on Boom 500. For example, here, this is where our peak was. Do you see this? So it's where our peak was, because here the indicator reached oversold and now was in what? In a buy zone. So you know that the Boom 500 is going to be buying based on the rules of the eye of God indicator. When it reaches oversold or overbought and the screen is in the middle and it's unzoomed, you know for certain that it's going to be buying. So the first pullback was this one, although it didn't quite land where it was supposed to, but you could check on M1 on if it had presented the buy setup. The second pullback was pretty much this one right there. That was the second pullback. And this one right about here was the third pullback. I'm just using current price data, so pardon me if the examples are a little bit few. All right, so this was the first entry opportunity if you missed it, the peak entry on M15. On M1, here the indicator was oversold and it was in a buy region, which is this one. So your first opportunity to buy based on the higher time frame, which is the M15, was this one. That was the first opportunity for you to buy. All right, and then the second opportunity for you to buy was this one. But on M1 there was no clear entries. You can see the indicator here is not giving you any entry, whether you zoom in or you zoom out. There was still no entry here. Right, so and the third entry, possible entry, was this one. So this one automatically is disqualified, right, as an entry. And then this one, now the indicator here had presented a buy setup. In this particular case the indicator was oversold, it was in a buy zone. So this happens to be a second opportunity to buy. Let's use a different color. Let's use this green right there. That was the first true opportunity to buy, because the other one, M1, didn't give you an entry. So and then, so guys, when you switch back to M15 like this, you knew that there was absolutely a little chance of you being stopped out even if you had entered here. So what you just have to do, you just have to find your higher time frame. For example, in this case, let me remove all these indicators, these objects that I've placed here. And then so it's like this. This is your peak. You have your first pullback, second pullback. I can even show you by just marking the arrows, since I'm bringing the video to a close, and just check with M1 where you would have taken your entries. So the first most important thing is to be able to spot your peaks on M15 or M30 or whichever time frame you're using, and then go draw down to M1 for your entries. The eye of God should give you entries. Here, for example, this was our first opportunity to buy using the zoomed in version. Yes, you were given a signal here, but the zoomed out didn't give you any. So you check with both zoomed in and zoomed out. Right, this was your first opportunity, and this was your second opportunity right there. If you zoomed in, yes, it did give you an entry on M1. This was your third opportunity. It gave you an entry again. And then so guys, that's it. This was your opportunity right there. It did give you an entry here. So what determines on whether or not you zoom in or out? First, you have to determine where the peak is. The peak is shown by here when the indicators are in the overbought or in the oversold region here. And then after that, you just wait for the pullbacks. The pullbacks are what will make you draw down to M1 for entries. So guys, I'll wrap this up on Boom 500 to 1000 just as an example. I hope this will help you. You can try practicing it on demo and you see how it goes. If you need to contact me, if you need the settings, or if you need to ask a couple of questions to understand the strategy, you can just go ahead and use my Telegram handle in the description below. Alright guys, that's it. Out.